When Harry Met Sally, a photography podcast, would like to acknowledge the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, the traditional owners of the lands and waters in which we are recording this podcast on today. As people who work with artists seeking meaning and knowledge through storytelling, we recognise the first peoples of this nation have been doing so for over 60,000 years. We pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging across Australia. Always was, always will be Aboriginal land.
None of this is possible without the fantastic help we've had from
ColArt. Thank you so much for the support on providing your pod suites. Nikon Australia, incredible ambassadors for the photography industry.
And Ted's Camera Store, also great ambassadors, have been around forever and are doing wonderful work. And A&L Artistic Framers, who have been framing photography and art for as many years as I can think. Thank you all so very much.
Hi and welcome back to When Harry Met Sally.
Hello, how are you, Harry?
I'm good. How are you doing, Sally?
Fantastic. I'm fantastic. A little bit tired. We've been pretty busy. I'm looking forward to bed tonight. But before I'm looking forward to bed, I'm looking forward to our guest for today.
Guest. So on the podcast today, we have Christina Simons. Hi, Christina.
Hi,
Hello.
Sally. Hi, Harriet.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Fantastic. We're good. We're going really well. We've had a fantastic second season so far. I hope you've listened to our first season.
Absolutely.
Yeah, good for you. That's the right answer.
I love having you in the podcast today. It's so great. We've known each other for quite a while, Christina.
Yeah.
So, fun fact, I assisted Christina a few times back in the day.
Yeah.
So, probably around 2010, 2011, something like that. Back at Daylight Studios.
That's right.
Wow.
It was really, and she was an excellent assistant.
Yep.
Yeah,
Very
that was pretty good.
We've heard.
So much has happened. Our paths crossed again a few years ago with the everyday climate crisis.
Yeah.
So that the wonderful Hillary
Wardle,
thank you. I always pronounce Hillary's name wrong.
Yeah.
Sorry, Hillary. Hillary Wardle created. So we bumped into each other on a Zoom call, and it was so wonderful seeing you there after, I think, 10 years of not seeing each other.
I know. So. And that exhibition is now in Berlin. Did you know that?
It is.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
So
and you've got some beautiful
my work's there as well. It's so cool. It's so cool. It's got longevity.
Heading over there to see it?
No, sadly
you wish?
not.
You got any time?
Sadly, no, I don't have any time, none.
Well, isn't that beautiful, like listening to that story? That's what this whole industry is about, though, isn't it? It's about, we talk about it all the time, it's about creating connections, creating networks, being, working with each other and reappearing, and bang, here you are again.
Here I am again.
It's the first time we've met, but it's really lovely to meet you, and I'm looking forward to having a conversation about both your education career and your photography career.
Yeah, lovely to meet you as well, Sally.
So you said you have no time at the moment, Christina. So why is this? Tell us.
I have just started a position at ColArts as the program coordinator for photography, which has been a baptism of fire, but it's been amazing.
Congratulations.
Yeah, that's huge. Congratulations.
So you have a history in education. You've taught before and done a lot of mentoring.
Yeah. So I actually started that teaching back during COVID. Like I was traveling right up until early 2020, and then bang, we went into COVID and went, well, what can I do with my time? So I took on some teaching and taught online for a group called United Pop, and did that up until about two years ago, which was great, and I loved it. And then I started mentoring, and then I was invited to teach at a couple of other institutions, which was all right. I also got to teach here at ColArts, and I kind of picked my favorite. And I said to them, I would really like to continue working with you. Let me know if there's other opportunities. At which point, Ricky said to me, can you apply for this position, please?
Did you go, I was thinking maybe a day, a week. No, let's run the whole thing.
I was like, does it have to be full-time? But, the freelancer in me was freaked.
Yes.
But Ricky and ColArts are so supportive of PD, personal development.
Yeah.
Please go and do the work that you have been commissioned to. If something comes up, we'll make it work. We'll support you, which has been an incredible kind of, I don't have to park my career. I can actually continue
amazing.
it, but now I can actually be more selective about the work that I'm doing.
Yeah.
Isn't it wonderful to be working with an organisation that gets that and
so good.
and talks it, but allows it to actually happen?
Absolutely.
I think
It's so important as creatives to continue being creative.
God,
Yeah.
And important for the students as well, for you to be coming in off a job and saying, I'm sorry I'm late, I've just been, doing this.
And it's exciting for them. They can kind of, okay, this is not somebody who retired 20 years ago. This is somebody that's still doing it, is really current and continuing to produce work. I feel excited to come and talk about it and share, this is what happened, and these are the disasters I met with, and I forgot to charge my battery or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
And they kind of go, oh, she's
She's
relatable.
human.
This is
She's
what's happening.
living it.
And she's human as well.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
that's so important that students are getting that real time and real life experience, not just someone that's been teaching it for 30 years. And
There's nothing wrong with that. Allow me to say that. It's just that the currency of actually, how everything evolves over time.
Yeah.
If you are working at the same time, it just gives you that
You can also be a
real
diplomat in
experience.
another life too,
Absolutely.
if you needed to, with that answer. I think that's wonderful. Oh, sorry.
So I think, we talk to a lot of photographers about, having a diverse practice and being able to shoot, but also, doing other things within their careers as well. And I think as we all get on a little bit, our backs start hurting from the amount of gear we're lugging around, and it's a hectic life. Photography. So can you talk a little bit about, why you might have wanted to have something a bit more like a almost full-time or full-time job, and maybe the pros and cons a little bit of...
Yeah, well, look, I mean, I didn't see I didn't forecast this.
Yeah.
It kind of fell into my lap. So I wasn't going, what can I do now? I was actively wanting to continue shooting regularly. But it can be a challenge. I've got an 11-year-old and I'm wanting to be there for him. And, it's kind of nice to have a steady income as well. So you get the feast and famine. As, some photographers have a regular income. Documentary and photojournalism can ebb and flow.
Yeah.
And I just wanted that consistency and security. But I wasn't looking for a full-time job. I was thinking 3 or 4 days, but 3. This is 5.
3 or 4 days, 2.
But that said, I love the team I'm working
Yeah.
with, and the students here are so hungry to learn.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah,
They're
they
a great
And that's
student.
so exciting for me because I go, I've got something to offer here. Let me share. I have taught at other institutions where the students are looking at Facebook for the whole class.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's really sad. What
Yeah.
am I doing here?
Yeah.
So for me, it was kind of a surprise.
Yeah.
But it has made me realize that I really want to focus on stuff I really am passionate about rather than doing stuff that I'm just kind of trying
Churning out.
Yeah, churning out and trying to provide clients with what they want, but not something that actually fills my cup.
Yeah.
And I think that's a real privileged position to be in.
Yeah.
And
well, you've worked hard for it as well.
really
you've
long
had a
time.
big career.
Yes.
You've worked really hard, and
Yeah.
now you're in a position where you can kind of
Yeah.
decide what you want to do, which
Yeah.
is great.
And the teaching facilitates that, but it's actually not like I'm doing the teaching to facilitate that. I'm doing the teaching because it's fun and I'm really enjoying it. And it's like all the good things in one pot. Yeah.
How wonderful.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Good
can't
for you.
complain. Feeling good.
Amazing.
Okay, so it's week 2, so we'll talk to her in 12 months. And
Hang on, it's at least week 6.
Oh, is it week 6?
Yeah, but you can, yeah.
And plenty of nana naps on the weekend if you get a chance, right?
Yep.
I'd like to talk a little bit about some of your work. And we spoke before we came on air about the breadth of work you've done and the travels that you've done and the places that you've been. And you were talking about, I'd like to hear some of your stories about some of the really confronting work that you've been exposed to, for want of a better word, and that you've shot and how you've coped with that.
Yeah. So, I mean, in short, I've worked with the New York Times here in Australia quite prolifically. And then one of my main clients, but not my only client, most of my clients are humanitarian-based organizations, but I've worked a lot with Doctors Without Borders. And so some of the stuff that I do with them is difficult. Like they're not the NGOs that just hand out vaccinations. They are the ones that are in the front lines of conflict in difficult areas. Sometimes Doctors Without Borders is the only one at a particular place because other NGOs don't feel like it's safe enough to go to. So yeah, a lot of the work I've done with Doctors Without Borders has been in Mexico, and we all know that there's a lot of issues in Mexico. My main focus has been on the refugees traveling from South and Central America into America. And then, of course, you've got the really real cartel that are part of that landscape. So most of the people I was dealing with would have been victims of violence. And the way that MSF support them, whether it's psychologically, physically, like mentally, all of that sort of thing. And so... yeah, look, I've been sent out to the places where some of the worst cartel behavior has occurred. And so I'm often kind of meeting people who have really challenging stories and really difficult circumstances or, recovering from awful things. And that stuff is very confronting, but also really harrowing. I think sometimes you hear about it, you see it in the movies, and there's a real detachment from that reality. And being exposed to that reality, it's like those movies just feel kind of farcical.
Yeah.
But it's really, it's just one of those things where you go, this is real life for a lot of people. And that connection, the time I spend with my subjects is really an important part of how I actually create my work. But yeah, I've been taken to Reynosa, which is on the border of the United States, near McAllen, Texas. You may remember the name McAllen from the previous Trump presidency where children were incarcerated in cages. So I was kind of on that front line. And of course, because it is a border state, it's got the cartel fighting for territory and all of that. So there's a lot of really difficult fighting going on in that region. And I landed maybe on a Monday, say, and then we were about to start working. And they said, look, Christina, you need to be aware that the two jefes, the two bosses of the two different cartel groups have just been murdered. One retaliated, one was killed, the other one retaliated. And we're expecting an all-out war. We're not quite sure when it's going to start because it's Easter. So they might be having a rest with their families before they get started.
Oh,
Stop.
wow.
No, I'm not saying stop. I'm just going, what? Keep talking. Look, I'm right
Stop,
in there.
don't stop.
No,
Stop, don't
stop. No, don't stop.
Stop means go.
Yeah. Oh,
And so
but I love that they're going to have Easter first, and then they're going to go and kill each other.
Very civilized, right? Very
Goodness.
civilized.
Big religious holiday. Yeah.
Yeah. So we
that's
went
a challenging
we went to town.
place to arrive.
Yeah.
Like a
Huge.
challenging place and time to arrive.
It was actually a second visit as well.
Wow.
Like
Yeah.
I had been there before, and there's stuff that you get it like a security briefing. You get security money in case you're kidnapped, all that fun stuff. And so they were like, yeah, look, this is happening. We don't know when it's going to start. But then I went to one or two projects that day and took photographs of those particular projects they wanted me to capture. And then we went back to our accommodation. And that night when the sun went down is when the fighting started. Wow. And it was like the windows would light up with gunfire and explosions. You could hear helicopters in the air.
Were you under the bed?
Almost. I lay on the concrete next to the bed because the window next to my bed could have been shattered, and I didn't want that to fall on me. So I slept on the concrete on the bed, next to the bed. Not under the bed because there wasn't enough space. But yeah, next to the bed. And I had to do that for a few nights because the road to the airport where we could have been evacuated was under siege as well. So we couldn't get out and be evacuated right away. So there were 3 days spent in this accommodation while fighting.
Can I ask a question? It might be well, I don't think any question's dumb. But do you wear a different colour to show that you're a female? Do you wear something to say that you're a photojournalist, or you're just in whatever you're wearing? So like when you go down mines, they ask you to wear a different colour so that people see that you're in.
I don't know if, I'd be collateral damage.
Yep.
Like I wouldn't have been targeted, but we do wear
like a vest.
We call it, it's the MSF jackets. They call them a chaleco. So I'm trying to remember the translation.
What do they call them?
chaleco.
Oh, chaleco.
Chaleco.
Like
So it's
that.
like a jacket, like a doctor's jacket, but you wear that, and I put all my great, so many pockets, so good for photographers.
So that's what I'm saying. They know that you're a photojournalist and that you're not with a gun and are going to kill anyone.
They don't know that I'm a photojournalist. They know that I'm with Doctors Without Borders, and that's kind of like a neutral, because it has the logo on the back. Yeah,
in a really slow way. I was trying to get
all
there.
good.
So during this time, that's kind of sounds quite terrifying. You're making work.
Actually, couldn't make work. We couldn't safely leave.
The
accommodation.
Yeah.
Couldn't even speak about the cartel outside of the accommodation because they were our neighbors.
Yeah, wow.
Because
So
the whole area.
Are you with a team or you're with the other doctors as well?
I'm with the expats the overseas people that are being housed in the same house.
Yeah.
So like roommates. And they all live there for months and months on end under these circumstances.
Wow.
And I'm like visiting. I'm a tourist. It's awful.
And what do you like when you come home after that?
What am I like?
Are you locking the doors and
No, but I did.
looking behind your shoulder?
So I actually went back to Mexico City because that's where you're based out of. And I remember a tree branch fell to the ground, and I remember ducking and like, rather than just being like, oh, a tree branch, I collapsed to the ground, kind of ducking for cover.
Yeah.
So it's like,
wow.
oh, that's had an impact.
Yeah.
So then you like kind of go, okay, there might be some things I need to look at when I get home.
Yeah. Well, it's no different than, the men that went to war. I mean, I've got a 96-year-old dad. He was in the war, and things like that really trigger him as well. It's like it's PTSD, isn't it?
It is, but it's a physiological, like there's not like, I can really reason this out and make it okay. There's a really strong physiological response that you can't have control over. Mm-hmm. So I've done, well, firstly, it always takes time to recover, but there's also things like actually getting help.
Yeah.
I'm a real strong advocate for mental health support.
Yep.
And I found that the best thing for PTSD is EMDR. I don't know if you've heard of it. Eye movement, I can't remember the...
rapid eye movement?
No, it's EMDR. So eye movement desensitization something. And it's really effective. It's very, I'm not trying to sell it. I'm just saying it's actually really, really... useful to kind of use a technique like that because it sort of shifts the trauma into the memory part of the brain, and then you kind of don't have a response.
Yeah,
It's like I can remember it, but I don't
Yes.
have a trigger. I'm not being emotionally triggered by it. So that's awesome.
So interesting.
And all of this, and you're a mum too, you said.
Yeah.
So how does that work in between coming back and going over and being a mum and...
Look, I mean, it's he's used to it. He's like, oh, Mom's going, and so I used to bring little what do you call them? Happy men. What are those faces? Little happy.
Oh yeah, the Mr. Men.
Mr. Men books.
Mr. Men,
That's the one. The Mr. Men books with me, and I'd read them during FaceTime at 3:00 in the afternoon in Mexico because that was 7:00 here, and I was like, okay, I'm going to read to him, and that was how we interacted when he was little, and then it was like doing the weird emoji faces,
Fantastic.
Just
They just
entertain.
adapt.
Yeah,
They
he's
do
just like,
adapt.
this is what Mum does, and I'm talking to her, and everything's fine.
Yep,
And your
fantastic.
partner's at home parenting there, and absolutely. Why can't for years the men have gone away to work, and the women have been there, at home. So why not swap it around?
He's been extremely supportive. I'm sure that sometimes it's been harder than he's been comfortable with.
Yeah.
But he's been very supportive.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, so look, I'm thinking after hearing that working at Collards 5 days a week is pretty good, right?
It's a shift in perception.
That's a very shifting perception. Sure is.
But I couldn't do that work all the time anyway because it's intense and it's taxing, and then there's time that's required for recovery.
Yeah, and so you do that sort of work, and then where do you fit time in for your personal work, and what does that involve?
Well, that
becomes
my personal work. So a lot of the work that I've done for them, I've really become connected. For example, with the refugee crisis in South and Central America, I became connected with that. So when I'd go to Mexico, I'd carve out an extra week to do more while I was there. And then I would go off and pursue stuff that, for example, the Doctors Without Borders wouldn't support because it wasn't safe enough, or they didn't have stuff in that region.
So there's something that's less safe than what you
Correct.
Yes. Right.
Wow.
And so they're intense the next time, right? So not houses with glass. So when they do that, do you go off on your own?
I'll get a fixer,
Yep.
usually the logistician or fixer, and they'll help facilitate parts of the trip that I maybe, they just make it a lot easier. I even get them to translate because even though I speak Spanish, it's so much easier to know that I'm definitely getting the interviews correct. The language is so important. I don't want to misunderstand.
Yeah.
So I'll get them to translate, and I'll speak to the subject, but I'll also get them to translate so that I have it on record so I can take notes and stuff.
So without getting too political, obviously things are changing over there at the moment, and there's a lot of worry and concern and fear just in the general population of what is going to happen on that border. Do you have, how does that affect you? Are you wanting to go back there? Are you wanting to be involved in that? Are you trying to keep a distance from it?
Well, funny you should ask. I did actually do a talk for FIT in New York last year on this subject, and they found it really interesting because of the election coming up, right? Now I've been in touch with Doctors Without Borders, and they want me to come out in May. So it's under negotiation. We're talking about what projects I'll shoot, how long I'll be there for. And while I'm sure I'm leaving poor CalArts in a bit of a jam, leaving for 2 to 3 weeks, they're really supportive and excited for me to go. So
amazing.
I don't know the full landscape, and I will get briefings, but
things are changing
so fast.
quickly. I mean, by May it's going to be, who knows what is going to be happening over there.
So I have to be flexible, and that's fine. I usually am. It's a very intense work experience, so I'll just go with it.
Well, I just think it's amazing what you do. And, we've just talked about this one project, but I know you've done so many beautiful projects around the world. And I think it's amazing what you do and your, documentary photographers in general. And, I think you take a lot. I mean, it's obviously something you love and are passionate about, but you take a big risk to show us a real side of what's happening in these places. So thank you.
Oh, well, I won't say it's my pleasure. I'd say it's an honor. Actually, it's an honor to be able to do it. Yeah.
I just love that story so much. I think I need another one.
Well,
how about one more?
How did you, was it always something you wanted to do, getting into documentary work, or was there a I don't want to say a crisis, but was there something where you went to photograph that sparked it all?
It's an evolution of things. One thing is that my dad was a doctor, and he did a pro bono. So he specialized in club foot, and he went and did a pro bono surgery on a little girl in India who had club foot. And then one day I came in, and he was crying. I was like, "What's wrong, Dad?" And he got this card from her father, who was a leper living in a leper colony, and someone had handwritten it for him because he'd lost his fingers. Oh, wow. And he said, "I am so grateful for you to have done this thing for my daughter. It's enabled our whole family to survive because now she can work." And my dad was so touched, and I remember just going, my dad made such a big difference in one person's life that I was just kind of like, how can I do things like that?
Yeah,
and I remember that being a little something.
How old were you then?
I was, I don't know, maybe small enough to sit on his lap.
Yeah.
Somewhere
so
there.
young. So it was
but old enough to remember.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of always sort of felt, I felt there was a passion in that I really was attracted to. And I am not at all saying I make that kind of difference in people's lives, but I do feel like if I can actually just change perceptions of people, even tiny amounts, that can actually make a difference. That's a real satisfying experience for me as a photographer. Insofar as I think I went to South America when I was about 24, sorry, did I say South America? South Africa, when I was about 24. I remember being really struck by how people were treated in the poverty, and that was the first real exposure of poverty and struggle of humanity. And I felt like that I'd witnessed, and I felt compelled. I can't just walk away from this. I feel like I need to do something, and I don't know what that looks like. And then, then eventually I started, becoming a photographer, and all of those things came together, things that I cared about and had passion for.
And your father, did he ever work abroad again? Did he do more work? Did you shoot with him at all? Did you go across?
Sadly not. I wasn't like, he passed away when I was about 30. But he did a lot, like he was a pioneer in the correction of clubfoot, so he actually did a lot of travel and did a lot of lectures around the world, and he'd bring us with him. But yeah, no, didn't get to share this stage of my life with him, unfortunately.
I'm sure he's very proud of you, and I'm sure he's down there watching you and looking over you. Somebody is. High five, Dad. Yeah, somebody certainly is. Yeah. So, when you were in South Africa, did you do any photography there at that point?
No, I wasn't a photographer yet. I was just...
So did that come later in life?
Later, yeah. So my first career was... I studied visual communication design in London, and I was wanting to work in advertising, which is very much not the same thing.
Yeah.
But I was very focused on creativity and making... Like, advertising was a financial platform in which to be creative, in my mind. I'm burnt out. And I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do with the rest of my life. So I went to South America for 3 months.
South America or
South America?
Right.
South America.
South America. Right.
I know. Sorry, our southern places in the world. I went to South America, and I traveled for 3 months in that transition between finishing college and wondering what to do with the rest of my life. And I went back to London, worked in post-production for a few years. Then I came out here to Australia, worked on the Ned Kelly film.
Oh, wow.
And I watched my name go up the credits in less than a millisecond, and I went, that was the most unsatisfying experience I've ever had. I am done. And that's when I quit, and I went back to study, and I studied photography.
Oh, wow. So you studied photography in Australia?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. And that also doesn't exist anymore. It's called the International College of Professional Photography, and that's no longer. But I'd already been taking photos up until then, but I wasn't shooting in South Africa.
Yeah. Is that ICPAC? IPAC?
ICPP, they called it.
ICPP, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. You never thought of becoming a doctor?
I thought about it and went, that's too gross.
Yeah.
I can't deal.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, guess who I work for? Doctors Without Borders.
Yeah. There's a connection there,
There must be.
Yeah. I think that's beautiful. I think that's a really strong connection, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you did have, obviously we first met when you were shooting at Daylight Studios. And so when you finished studying, you must have kind of done a little bit of commercial work.
I
and
did.
Were you trying to sort of fit, did you always know that you wanted to really travel and tell big stories? Or did you think you could kind of do both? Or, how did you figure it out? And did it take a while?
I remember when I was actually in London working in post-production, we were working underground and there were no windows, and I come out and pop out and there was this beautiful travel bookstore across the street, and I would spend all my time in there during my lunch breaks. But one day there was a Steve McCurry poster of the Afghan girl in the window. I was like, oh my God, that's so beautiful. I want to be like him when I grow older. And I was like, where is that coming from? And I think that was me knowing.
Yeah.
And then he did a talk, and I met him, and that was great. And then I kind of decided to one day when I had a moment to think, okay, what am I going to do with the rest of my life, when I was finishing up with post, I was like, that's it. It's time to start.
You had the courage to do it.
Yeah, and that's what I did at that point. No, I wanted to be a documentary photographer, but all the commercial work was there to support that.
Yeah. Sort of the income on one hand.
Correct.
To be able to do the beautiful work. Yeah. Amazing.
Are you doing any commercial work these days?
Don't have time.
Yeah, I mean, prior to your 5 days a week here, do you miss it?
Am I doing commercial work, or do I miss it?
Oh, good. Pick me up.
I love
She
it.
just picked me up. I
Too
did
many
2 questions. Okay, stop. One. Okay, stop. And do you miss it? No, do you miss it? Commercial work?
Not so much.
Yeah.
It was something I enjoyed doing. I actually, oddly enough, got a lot of work shooting food. Because I worked at a food magazine while I was studying, and that's when I had the amazing opportunity to shoot Anthony Bourdain. And that image has made its rounds around the world a few times. But I really enjoyed shooting food. I think it was sort of the non-interaction.
Objects.
Yeah, and I could just focus on the light. And there was some really lovely satisfaction in that.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed it. But I don't know if I miss it.
I guess it's so different to the
So different.
You know, it's like, you need that yin and yang. Maybe.
And that's probably part of the reason why I really enjoy teaching. It's a different, it's just a different part of me.
Yeah. And you have done, but prior to teaching at tertiary, you've done a bit of mentoring. Can you maybe talk a little bit about, the value of mentoring? I think it's really important. It's becoming a bit of a buzz thing lately, but I think, people have had mentors all their life, for decades, and it's been it's having
it's a second set of ears and eyes and somebody else that's not a family member or a friend or somebody to talk to. And
it's having a moment is what I was going to say. But can you talk to why it's
part of the reason I'm doing it is because I didn't have one.
Yeah.
And I kind of always longed for someone to just give me a hand, a second set of eyes. Yeah. That feeling of support, I was very solitary. I didn't have it. I wanted it. And I kind of found myself after teaching initially during lockdown and a little bit after, that my students that were leaving were going, what am I going to do now? Like, what's going to happen for me now? How am I going to make this work? And I sort of thought, well, look, if you need more support, I can create that for you. And I could see that need, that a lot of people do need support. I have had a lot of people reach out to me through Instagram who are, already photographers, but they're like, how do I make it in? How do I get the career? How do I make it into a career? What do I need to do in order to make that happen? And so it's like, well, let's look at your work. Let's break it down. How solid are your stories? Are there gaps in this? And I really find it fascinating to see how other people see the world and get an insight into their vision, and how I can support them is really inspiring. So I don't know. I just think it's really, it's an honor for someone to let me in and invite me into their world to help their growth. And watching people go from lack of confidence to feeling confident is so rewarding.
It sure is. It's a very special thing, isn't it?
Yeah, you just kind of feel like a proud parent moment, right?
Yeah,
it's like
so
good.
Proud. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And now with your teaching here at Collarts, and you're running the photography department and you're teaching. So how are you time managing that?
I'm still learning.
Yeah.
I'm still learning.
Yeah.
Because, Ricky's been very good. He's not overloaded me just yet. He wants me to find my feet.
So we're just talking about Ricky Bunder for those that are interested. That was in season 1, and Ricky Bunder was the director of photography here.
Well, he is actually the program leader, and I'm the coordinator.
Right.
But so he's my boss.
Yes.
But I'm taking some of his workload on, which is great. And there's some really cool and exciting things coming up that I'm going to be a part of, and I feel like I can actually add value to, which is great. But at the moment, I'm just finding my feet with being a full-time staff member, teaching, preparing, for my sessions, but also supporting students and all
So
that.
with your sessions, are you teaching right through the years, or have you got a particular year level you're working with at the moment?
I'm working with first stage, so how to use your camera. I'm working with fourth stage. I'm teaching photojournalism and documentary photography, which I am so enjoying.
Amazing.
I wonder what you are.
Well, exactly. It sounds right up your alley, actually.
And I'm teaching capstone development, so that's stage 5, and I'm loving that because I'm encouraging my students to be creative, and that's something that, in a way, is tapping into a part of myself that might be a little bit underutilized as a documentarian.
Yes.
So I'm actually enjoying the creative stuff that we're playing with in that as well.
Fun.
Fantastic. What a full, what did you say before? Your cup is full?
My cup is full.
It's overflowing a little bit at the moment.
maybe, yeah.
In May, it's, I'd love to catch up with you after that too and see if, what happens and if that all comes off and if the world's still here and all of those sorts of things.
I can't predict the future.
I've just been in my head trying to think of the movie that I saw about the female photographer. Was it Erin? No.
Oh, Lee.
Yeah. It was such a good movie.
I still haven't seen it.
Oh, I've just got goosebumps.
And I've just read the book as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I still haven't seen it. I need to. I've been when you've got all the things happening when you're working and you've got the family and I'm waiting for the time where I can just sit and really watch it.
How did you feel? How did you feel about it? Did you feel feel like, oh, yeah, I get that.
Yeah, but also heartbroken, you know, a lot heartbroken. She lived a very different life to the one I'm living. But yeah,
but
like
it's a different time,
people are like, oh, you go into war zones, and I'm like, not on purpose. Like I actually don't run off into the Ukraine with like the full gear. I actually am not trying to invite that, and she did.
Yeah.
And that's like a different.
Well, she was a trailblazer, wasn't she?
Yeah, it's a different brain though to go. Yep, I want to go to a war zone. I want to be in a conflict. I want to literally be in the line of fire. That's not where I'm coming from. I'm kind of more of the humanitarian side of things, but
yet you find yourself in those situations.
Sometimes, not all the time. Sometimes. But look, I mean, my husband took me for my birthday. Actually, it was because he knew I'd love to see it, so beautiful. It was amazing. Yeah, it was good to see.
You've got to go. I'll go with you. I'd see it again.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I've got to go. I've got to make. Yeah, I've got to
really
make the time.
Well, it's coming towards the end of our time.
It is.
Harry, so.
And I know, look, we are asking one question to everyone, and it's a big question, but it doesn't have to be as well. But you did touch on what the future perhaps looks like a minute ago, and you are teaching all these young up and coming photographers. So do you have a vision of what the future might look like, Christine?
Well, as I said before, I don't tell the future. And I mentioned earlier that when, digital cameras came out, I bought another film camera. So there might be a bit of reluctance to even imagine what the future might look like. I don't know the answer, but I do know that if there is a passion for photography, which I think there is, not just for me, but the people in this world are now taking pictures with their phones and they're enjoying capturing the world around them, there is still going to be a need and a love for it. Yeah. How that manifests with what is going on in the world, I don't know. But I do know that even if you're doing it for the love, it's still going to be out there.
Yeah.
Well, what a beautiful place to end. And I think as we spoke about before, it's like it's about the here and the now, isn't it? Like focus on what you're doing now and the future is the future.
Yeah.
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 I'll just put my crystal ball away. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that I know. But,
buy yourself a film camera.
I've got plenty of them, babe. Don't worry about that.
Thanks so much for being here, Christina.
Well, thank you for squeezing us in.
Yeah.
I mean, for goodness sake, we're in the middle of a week.
That's all right.
But I think we could have heard story after story from you. So thank you so much.
Yeah, my pleasure.
It's been wonderful having you, and it's lovely to meet you. And I've got such visuals of you, and the work that you're doing. And if anybody wants to look at some more of Christina's work, your work
Christina.
is... Yeah, I did say that, didn't I?
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Fiona? No, sorry. Christina. Your website is...
ChristinaSimons.com.
There you go.
And I find that Australians like to add a Y, 2 M's and a D. So it's actually just simple Simon with an S on the end.
Okay.
SIMONS.
Right. And Christina with an A. There it is, ChristinaSimons.com. So get on to having a look at some of Christina's extraordinary work, and we look forward to seeing what happens in the future, and all the best here at Collards.
And congratulations again.
We're thrilled that you came to talk to us today.
No, it's an absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Harry.
Thanks, Sally.
It's been fun, as always. We'll speak to you later on.
Okay, bye, Christina.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Wow, wasn't that another fantastic episode?
So much fun.
And Harry, none of this is possible without the fantastic help we've had from, take it away,
Shaquille Raymond, what a rock star audio engineer.
I like that. Martin Stevens, my husband, for his guitar prowess on the intros and outros. And Shani Power, who is doing all of the behind-the-scenes photos and design of everything to do with the Instagram posts. Thank you all so very much to help us get our podcast out.
We'll see you on the next one.
We will. It's been wonderful, Harry. Thanks, darling. Bye-bye.
Bye.